Good evening, YouTubers. I'm not an expert. Today I want to talk about drills and drill bits. Let's look at a couple types. So we're doing a little woodworking or not. Let's talk about bits we might use. These are the ones I have. There are a lot of kinds of drill bits. Start off with, you got your basic twist drills. Right? These are multi-purpose bits. They're for metal. They work in wood. Great around the house. Handy for regular projects. Not great for fine woodworking though, because they don't just cut that great a hole. That takes you up to the next one, spur bit, or a brad point bit. I mean, not spur bit. Brad point bits these are much better for woodworking. As a matter of fact, when I was a kid, this was kind of the standard nice bit. If you had them, they come in all the sizes, and these work really good in wood. And generally use those with an electric drill. Then you got your Forstner bits, various sort of variations on Forstners. I prefer to use these in a drill press, but you can successfully use them in an electric drill, not too much trouble. The next, and a lot of people's in woodworking's least favorite, is a spade bit. Now these are great for rough work. They're very fast. Use these in an electric drill. But they tend to make rough holes, or not always round holes, sometimes precision stuff to get with them. But I've used them for a lot of things, and if the hole is not visible, they work, but they're not preferred, but they'll get the job done, and they're really inexpensive. And then, of course, finally, you've got your auger bits used in a bit brace. Now, these will make a really nice hole, just like a Forstner bit will, and you get to hand power them, which is kind of cool, and they can be pretty handy. So that's really quick. So what about it? Well, let's talk about the tools we're going to use with these bits. Now, obviously, if we're going to use an auger bit, we're going to use a bit brace. This was I don't know what that is. That's a 10-inch throw, I believe, or 5-inch. I'm not sure how you measure it. But anyway, it's, from here to here, right? There's smaller ones and there's bigger ones. The bigger the bit, probably the bigger the throw you want. Now, auger bits go down to 1/4 of an inch, but I find that 1/4 inch range, really it's a lot of tool and a very thin bit. Not my favorite. I would rather, if I was woodworking, for those medium-sized holes in wood, I like the brad point bits. And I like to drive them, of all things, with a cordless electric drill. Works great. Real handy, and I like hand tools, but I think for the medium-sized bits, 1/4 inch, 3/8, I really think this is the way to go. But once you get down to really small holes, like this is, I don't know what size this is, I just grabbed this at random, but it's like an 1/8 of an inch, or maybe a little bit smaller, or especially this little one. This can actually be quite unwieldy. It's very heavy, and it's very easy to accidentally tip it just a little bit, and these little bits will not take much as far as side load. They're going to snap off. So this is actually kind of bulky, and the weight's not in the right place. So it's not the greatest thing for doing little holes. What is great for little holes is a little tiny hand crank drill. Doesn't weigh much. It makes it much easier to get the bit right where you want it, because it's not, it doesn't have that momentum carrying it around. It has plenty of power for a little tiny drill bit like this in wood. And just kind of a lot easier. So I like a small egg beater drill for small bits. I like to use my electric drill for the mediums. And then when they get really big, rather than using something like a spade bit, which actually sometimes the 12 volt isn't even enough to really, these need to go fast to really do well. I like the bit brace. But let's talk about hand crank drills, just a really quick little bit. These are easy to find. They're made gazillions of them. Some of them have, that one doesn't have a handle that comes off. I have a few sizes. So I have this little tiny one. And I have one that's just a little bit bigger. And then I have this one, which is, a little bigger. And finally, can have so much clutter on my thing. I have a big old two-handed model, right? And this is actually 2 speeds. You can take the gear off and move it. Let's see if I can show you that. It has 2 different gears to drive it. So you either drive it with this small one or with the great big one, right, against that other thing, and you get a completely different gear ratio. But this is a breast drill. It's got this to go against your shoulder. You put your hand here. I'm in a bad position. Shouldn't have sat down. Right. I've never used this to drill anything because by the time you get to a bit this big, I mean, if you're really dedicated to hand tools, it's great. But otherwise, you're going to want to move up to an electric drill or even a corded electric drill for the bit size that this monster is really good for. Because for small bits, it's just too heavy and unwieldy. So you kind of want to use it for big bits. And once you're getting into big bits, it's not that much fun anymore. It's just work. Same kind of with the egg beater drills. The medium and big one, I don't use very much. I've used this one a bit. But I use this little one because with really small bits, it's just easier. So do you need 4 of these? No. I would say if you're out shopping around, get a small one. I think you'll find it more useful than you will the mediums. Now, as far as bit braces go, again, I don't really find the smaller, like the 3/8 inch, the 1/4 inch auger bits to be my preference. I actually would rather go electric and use brad point bits. I just think it's easier. And I think, I'm not that dedicated to hand tools that I'm willing to make my job harder just so I can say I did it with a hand tool. This is a pretty good set of bits I got here. My other video on things to look for, this is one to look for. This is an Irwin set. They're in really nice condition. That's what you want. All right, anyway, that was just a quick Friday night video on some of my opinions on which drill is the right drill for the job. Should have said that right up front. Sounded better. So I like a combo. I like egg beater drills for small stuff, electric drills for medium stuff, and the bit brace for the big holes. I think that just makes the best combo out of the tools that I have. What do you think? Are you dedicated to anything, or using spoon bits, or I don't know, some other kind of drill bit? Let me know. Anyway, it's a short one, but we'll catch you later.